when we were moving, I was given an offer to work on this presidential palace. It was a 3-year contract in Abu Dhabi. I had to be on board, and I actually rejected that to move to Melbourne. So at that point, I thought, I had made the wrong decision.
Welcome to episode number 49 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. I really appreciate all of you who have watched the previous episode and give me great feedback about them. I'm looking forward to the next 51 episodes sharing the wisdom of another 51 successful women. Today, I'm so glad to have someone from Melbourne joining us in our conversation. Lathika Nair is the founder of Lathika Nair Design. She is the brilliant mind behind the interior design company. As the founder and principal of Lathika Nair, Lathika brings a unique blend of creativity, innovation, and elegance to every project. Her ability to seamlessly merge functionality with aesthetic sets her aside in the industry. I love my conversation with Lathika and learning about the great work that she has been doing for her client. I believe that she's not only creating the design for her clients, but also creating a beautiful home for her own family. As she mentioned, she felt like she's part of the family after working with her client. She shared with us her struggles when she first arrived in Australia and how she managed to get through all those. So without further ado, let's join me in my conversation with Lathika coming up next. Hello, good morning, Lathika. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Vivienne. I am doing really good, thank you. And thanks for having me. How has your day been so far?
I am good and fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to finally have you here because we have been planning to have this one for quite some time. But yeah, it's 2024 and you're finally here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's right. I mean, probably mid last year we've been talking, and time just flew by, isn't it? So
that's right.
I'm so happy to be here chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for your time, Lathika. I know you're very busy as well. So yeah, I got some questions for you, Lathika, and then we'll go with the flow to see how we go. So first question that I always ask these 100 successful women guests is that I know that you are the founder of Lathika Nair Design, as you all can see on the logo behind her background. She's also a mom, she's obviously a wife, and there's so many different titles you are having, right? We as a woman, we play so many different roles. But one question that I always ask is that if you take all these roles away, who is really Lathika Nair?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's actually a question sometimes I ponder myself too. I think if I don't think about anything else at the minute, I would just say I feel I'm someone who is quite creative, fun-loving, wants to be around friends and family, just enjoy life. And there's one thing I really think is important is giving back to the society. That has just been in me since a very long time. So I don't know how that all falls together, but from being creative, I can know everything I can think from my childhood. It's always been about creating something all throughout, and loving it, vibe, having a group. I think very social person, so I need to have the group around me. I think that is how probably I'll describe myself, and an animal lover. I don't know if that's a title or what is it.
I love that. I love asking this question, because I get so many different answers from different people. And then it's such a great question to ask ourselves as well, because sometimes we forgot about who we really are because they're so busy doing things instead of being, right?
You're right, because sometimes it is because we are always caught up in something. Like morning, as soon as we wake up, it's like the kids. So, you're taking the mom role, you have to get them ready, then you've got your chores, then you've got, of course, your clients waiting. So you're just jumping from one role to another. And deep down, you sometimes that question does come in, especially on certain days you're thinking, what is it? Who am I actually? Kind of a thing. So it's a beautiful question, the good one. I wasn't expecting that though, but it's a good one. I have heard your podcast, but somehow it didn't register. That was the first question always.
Thank you so much for sharing with us who is really Lathika Nair is. So I know that obviously you are the founder of Lathika Nair Design. I did read a little bit of your bio, Lathika, and I know that you started this back in 2010.
No, my business is 2020. It started
2020. Okay. Yeah. So what is can you share a little bit, what's your pivotal moment or experience that inspired you to, I know that you were working as an architect for someone else before. So what is that transition that made you transition to start your own business?
So one of the reasons I think, look, I was a registered and practicing architect in India before I moved to Melbourne. So I have worked in India and Middle East, and I have worked on various different scales of projects, starting from a single bedroom home to, I've actually been a part of Presidential Palace Abu Dhabi as well. I've been a part of the design team. And in India, I was already at that stage, where of course I was working for someone, and I was thinking at that point, I need to, because sometimes you get held up in certain ways when you're working on someone else's design, where you're not able to go through and do exactly what you wanted to do for the project or for the client, because your boss has said, that's all that you need to do, you don't need to go beyond that. So that has always kind of held me, and I think, I wish I could just do this on my own so I can do and explore that better and maybe provide something better. So always the fact that maybe I could provide something extra for my clients was one aspect that I had at that time itself, and that's when myself and my husband decided to move to Melbourne. So this being a new place, I knew I would have to start from the grassroots level, because though I had all these experience, this is a new place, everything is new, building rules are different. And again, I started from the start, where you're doing more of drafting work. But unfortunately, I realized working in architectural firms, I was not getting the chance to go beyond that, like no designing. So what I was just doing, like back end of the office and all time in front of the computer drafting. Now I love drafting, don't get me wrong, but that is just one part of my whole work. It was more being creative. I was not getting that creative outlet. And that is when I started exploring interior design options, where I started getting more of that creative aspect again, in where, I was getting jobs where I could create. And then, of course, drafting was part of it. But again, then when you're working for someone, you always feel you're held up and, you're not able to express completely. And then the other reason was, I had my kids, and then I thought, it is difficult for me to work for somebody else's timing and to help other people. So I thought, okay, that's when I decided I'll start out on my own, so I can help people that I really need to, and take up jobs that I'm keen and work on my flexibility. So that was one main push that literally pushed me on the edge and got me going. And it's a great time, because as soon as I started, we were hit with COVID. So that was a funny time, but that's when I started.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's it definitely, it's some challenge for you when you started during that COVID year, right?
Yeah, it was. None of us knew we were going to go into lockdown, and this
That's
is what
right.
was going
Melbourne
to happen.
is the worst one.
Yes, the worst one. And it's funny, but the first job that I had when I started my business was actually from India, because I had some family there, and they knew, of course, I was a practicing architect, and they were doing a renovation, and they put forth a question to me, and that's how I started designing for them. And I realized, okay, this online, because we all had to pivot to online, and people are kind of getting used to now, so there was like WhatsApp call, or you give a drawing and then you do a WhatsApp video and talk to them. So that was kind of we were all moving into that digital aspect. So even trades down there, they were happy to get on the call and talk to you and try to understand what is it that you're getting. Of course, it was not, the design aspect worked well, but of course because I don't have the site supervision and not the full control of things I couldn't have, but at least that idea was communicated and they did that job, which was great. And that happened during love. So it was like a learning experience for me, and I think for everybody else. But it, to be honest, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that time because one, it was the first work that I got after kind of I officially launched. And of course, because it had that design aspect, I was like fully, that was the only job at that time I had. And I had just a baby who hadn't turned once. So this was, whenever I used to get that time, it was all about, oh, let me create. So I was really getting into that mood of it. So it really helped me also during that time.
Wow, you're amazing. And not only that, that was a most challenging year that you started the business. It's also the first year of motherhood, is it?
No, it was my second baby. So yeah, second baby, but he hadn't turned one. He was still a baby.
Wow, that's such a big that's lots of that's so motivated and so inspiring for you to do that. And thank you so much for sharing that story on how you started this Lathika nail design. But you did mention that you migrated from Abu Dhabi and from India to Melbourne at the time as well, right? So
Yes.
in migrating to a new country, obviously it's such a big and significant life change. So how did moving from where you were to Melbourne actually impact you in terms of career, and what are the challenges that you face when you're establishing yourself in this new environment?
Okay, so I think my husband and I, we have traveled when we were in India, work related, and otherwise we have traveled to different parts, and we somehow had this idea that we want to try out another place, see how it goes for us. So why not? We were looking at different options, and then finally we decided we'll select Melbourne because we did have some extended family here. So we thought, okay, we'll give it a try. And we solely came because both of us at that time had really good jobs in our own hometown. We were doing well and we were with the family. There we were still living with our family, so with our in-laws, and my mom was also, we were in the same city, so it was really good at that. It worked perfectly for us. So people out there were really shocked when they realized that both of us have decided to leave this place. And we had questions like, why you have, both of you have such a good job, you've got your family with you. But we wanted to just explore the idea and see, and we came with the intention that we'll try 6 months to a year and see how the new place treats us. And if we feel it doesn't work for us, we'll just pack up and go back. That was the plan. So though of course we went through all the PR process and stuff, the expectations were not too high. We had just decided we'll give it a go. Let's see what happens, and then we'll decide. So we came here, and we of course we stayed with one of our cousins, which was really great. They let us be there with them. So they've been here they were born and brought up here, so they knew they've been here all their lives. So, and initially job hunting was a bit hard because though I said I had so much of experience, always the fact that lack of local experience, so always that was the fact that mine was being rejected. Unfortunately, architecture being such a field that you have to know your local codes, what local materials and stuff, that was always, and that was quite frustrating for me at the start because like I said, I was coming with an international experience for over 8+ years where I've worked in various kind of projects done, and I was quite confident at that stage in my life. But the fact that I wasn't getting a job just because not having a local experience was actually quite frustrating. And luckily my husband, he's into software, so he got a job very quickly as soon as we moved in, so that kind of eased us a little bit. Okay, he's got a job, so then we moved into a rental home, which was good. And then I was fortunate to get the first job at he's architect Buckerfield, that's his name. He was the first person to actually call me in for an interview and have a chat. And Rob has he's traveled and he's quite well experienced. he was quite happy to give me a go. One reason was they had somebody on maternity leave, so they wanted someone to cover up and get some drawings done. And he said initially it's going to be a very short term, just 2 weeks of work. So I said, okay, fine, I'll join and see how it goes. But I was fortunate that 2 weeks, because of my CAD skills and drafting skills, that 2 weeks got extended to 4 months, which was really good. And I worked on a specific project, and I learned a lot in that first project because it was my first project in Melbourne. So there was a lot of things that I was learning about how, drawings are done, how town planning drawings are done, which is new to me because we do it in a different way. Of course, the drafting is similar, but the way of presenting it is different. And unfortunately, that didn't go ahead. That project was stopped at that stage, so he couldn't, have me on further. But that 4 months was really good. But again, after that, there was this major struggle of getting into some kind of work, and it was always applying at Seek and getting this no, it was quite demotivating. And at one point I thought, what am I doing here? I really want to go back, kind of a thing. I was getting a bit frustrated, and that's when I started deviating and looking into that interior designer jobs as well. And I was fortunate, I got one. It was a boutique company. It was called Harris House, and I got into that, and they had everything that I wanted, all from design. I could meet the clients, go out on site, everything. It was just that it was not architecture, but it had everything else in it. And because I had this architectural background, when we had clients, we could offer more as well if they needed any other additional support, because I was so familiar. I could offer that extra help as well to all the clients, and that became a really lovely job for me, and I started enjoying that. So when that happened, then it was like, okay, so fine, it's kind of working. And then we decided, okay, we will continue here. So it was a long story, but from that frustration kind of a thing, especially when you come here with so much of experience. I think if you're a graduate or you're coming for higher studies, you're coming with a different mindset. But I came with a mindset of having so much of experience and I'll be able to get a job, to the fact that I was not getting anything in the field. So that was quite depressing and heartbreaking at that time. But I was fortunate I got a good role after.
Wow. Yeah, that must be a stage where you feel that you nearly want to give up, right? Like you say, you wanted to go home.
Yes, because I knew, like other places, like especially the Middle East, I knew at that stage if I moved, I knew the amount of work I would get. To be honest, when we were moving, I was given an offer to work on this presidential palace. It was a 3-year contract in Abu Dhabi. I had to be on board, and I actually rejected that to move to Melbourne. So at that point, I thought, I had made the wrong decision. I should have gone for the other job because it's probably once in a lifetime opportunity to work on that scale of a project. So that at that time was quite frustrating, because the fact that I had something in my hand and I let go and I moved here and I'm not getting anything was hard.
Yeah, so how did you, because from what you just shared with me, I can see that there probably are a lot of people out there who are at the stage where were you before, right? Where there is a time they've been trying so hard, but they didn't get the thing that they thought they are getting. So there are these stage where you are, like you say, you ask yourself whether I'm doing the right decision or no. So how did you get over that? How did you push through? Because without you pushing through, you probably already back to India or Abu Dhabi now, right? So what have you done, or what were you telling yourself at the time?
See, one thing was there was not much of any other financial stress, because like I said, my husband got into a very good job. We moved into a rental property, and it was just the two of us. So the risk factor was minimum. So it is quite different when you're coming with probably children. Things are a little different. For us, at least, that risk was minimum. It was just the two of us. And luckily, like I said, because he got into a good job, that stress went off. There was no kind of financial burden at that time. So that was one reason, which probably, because it could keep me going, because we were not in the stage that I had to get a job. I still had the flexibility to look for something else if I needed. And then, of course, the fact that, somewhere something should click, it should happen. I was like, there's no way known that, it will not happen. Maybe it's not right. Maybe I'm not getting the right call, but something should click. Every time you apply for the job, you have this feeling like something should click. And probably over time, when I started getting rejections, I also realized how I should apply for, where I should apply. Stopped looking at agencies and things like that, because for them, of course, when people are hiring and they've got an agency looking, they would obviously take the cream of the cream who've got the experience and who are exactly what is said in the requirement. So they would take those. So I started looking for more options, like where there was firms putting on Seek directly. So rather than going through an agency. And also I remember speaking to an agency, and the person there clearly told me, we cannot help you at this stage. You will have to get an experience somewhere for at least 2 years so that we can start considering you. He was very honest. And actually at that time I was, like I said, heartbroken when he mentioned that, because my point was, unless someone gives me a job, how will I get an experience? Everybody's saying I don't have a local experience, but somebody has to give me a job so that I can get a local experience. So that was like in the loop, playing in the loop kind of a thing, why is this not working? So, but somewhere maybe that belief that something will come. And then, like I said, I pivoted, because rather than looking for only architectural roles, I started looking for interior designer and consultant kind of roles as well. And that's where I got the next job, and which was quite satisfying for me at that time.
That's such a beautiful outcome that you get, right? And then you keep trying, and you look for ways and what are the better ways to do things rather than stay at where you were.
Yes, that's I guess that's a learning curve, because back home I didn't have to do that bit, because the university from which I graduated was one of the top universities in India. So it's like, when you're out there, you don't have to declare that you're from the university. If you've graduated from the university, that itself is a big thing, and then you don't have to convince people about this. It was easier to get. But here I had to start from scratch. Nobody knows which university. There's no point in telling I worked in so many years. I worked in one of the top, because that doesn't
recognize
have anything to do with the local experience. So and unfortunately my field is that I need to know the local codes. I need to have the local experience. So that was frustrating, but like I said, my first job, so I had that feeling like someone will be there who understands and who will give me that chance. I always felt, there will be someone in Melbourne who will give me that chance. And probably that I just kept. I even remember some of those phone calls. I used to call and ask, like, local agency, and one person was he abruptly said, we don't hire Indians, and that was quite, at that time I didn't know what to say, and I couldn't say whether that was a racist comment, but I had to just say thank you and hang up the phone. But then that got me thinking, where am I, where have I come, is that a problem? So these things, even like it's been 14 years and I can still remember this. It shows that actually that stayed back. I don't remember which firm that was though, but that dialogue has stayed back with me. So those were hard times. And I remember when my husband used to go and come for work, I used to have this notebook where it's got the whole page. I still have that book with me. It's got the whole page, like today these were the people I called. There would be like 20 to 40, and it was very tiring calling them up, introducing and then hearing a no. It used to be quite tiring. And the fact that it's not about the physical tiredness, it's probably the emotional stress that it was giving me. The fact that I thought I would easily get a job was not happening. So yes, those were hard times. Now when I look back, it's like probably it's all like I don't have any complaints of moving to Melbourne now. I'm really happy. This place has given me everything that we have, so. But at that time, of course, the job was the thing for me, and it was
and you have the belief that there will be someone there out there hiring you, and those are just your stepping stone to where you are today.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, you probably, sometimes you just feel there's somebody pushing you and somebody holding you, your
Mm,
guardian angels,
that's right.
which is probably getting you across. So,
Um,
and like I said, because we did not have any risk factors, so I could
uh-huh.
kind of take another, see how it is. And I even came to a point I might have to change my career, but that was not something I wanted because I was so into it, had to be anything to do with design,
And
but I would think
creativity.
maybe something different, but still design related.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story that you just shared. It. I love that. I just show someone that it's need dedication and never give up, because there will be another call. Who knows? You have been rejected for so many times because you say how many calls that you made in a day. It was draining internally, but eventually you get to a yes.
Yes.
Mm,
And I think probably the other aspect is the more you try, it's happening today in today when I'm running my business as well. If I speak to 10 people, I can convert two. So if I speak to 100 people, I will be able to convert 20 probably. So that is always there. The more you need to get out there,
mm.
and probably it is the person who's trying. Like for me, I am thinking that I've called 40 people, but the 40 people are probably hearing my name for the first time. So that's the way it is. So
Wow. That's
I mean,
such a
yeah,
great
probably I'm
remider, right?
understanding better now
Oh, I
as
really
time
think that
goes.
that's such a great story and reminder for anyone out there who are like discouraged for getting the no's. But then look at what Latika just say, yeah, 40 or 20 calls that you make, but to them it's their first time listening to your name. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Latika. And the next question that I have for you is that you have two children. Is that right?
Yes, yes,
How
yes.
old are they?
They are 9 and almost 5.
Oh wow, they're still young though. So between family, home, and your professional life, so balancing this is something that is quite challenging, especially as a mom. So how did you navigate this family and your entrepreneurship? What are some of the advice that you can give, especially for other women out there who probably are trying to managing different roles in their lives as well?
Uh, See, one thing, it's a great question because I don't know if there's something called balance. It's just the way, you have to, certain things take importance on certain day and you've got to focus on that. And of course, thankfully, I have, my husband also does a lot of things. So the other thing is you need to ask when you need for help, whether it be your husband or whether it be your close circle as well, because sometimes people, when you're doing it, people just think you're able to do it, but only when you ask may the other person even realize that probably you need help with something. So that is one thing I have learned over the time, that even if it's my husband, sometimes I have to just tell him or ask him, can you do that instead, because I that's too much for me to do it today. So thankfully there is someone, he is a person that I can easily communicate and I am able to tell him and he will take that up. The other thing was COVID in a way was a blessing in disguise, I can say, during that time, because like I said, my baby was little one and my mom had also traveled from India. So she was here with me the 2 years of COVID. So to some extent, the fact that she was there, I could leave a little bit of task to her. She's not able to do too many things, but at least if I've got the baby, and she had to sit with the baby, at least she would do that, and so that I could spend that time doing something else. And my older son, he was doing school, homeschooling, which was fine, but I had to just attend to him once in a while. But like I said, husband also started working from home because he's into software. He moved completely work from home. So the fact that he was also at home actually helped, because he would do other things like going out and stuff, and whatever had to be done, he would do it, and I had to just manage things at home. So
Mm-mm.
of course, I would say one of the best thing is, whoever is your partner, your husband, is you need to sometimes just say things and communicate clearly when you need a helping hand, when you need someone to do something. And I think it just over the time, because it's a family, and then this way, and Of course, times have been hard with the little one. Probably when the little one was sleeping, I used to do work at midnight, and maybe during the day would not do as much because the other boy was homeschooling. I had to pay attention to him as well. And husband, because though he was home, he was working full time. So I just navigated through, and initially, like I said, just having that one work at a time kind of helped me because I wasn't taking too much on board. So when that job was almost completing, gradually, if some inquiry came in, I would pick the other work. So I was not doing too many work that, it would just overwhelm me. I was starting slow, and like I said, because I was starting from zero, anything, even a 0.1 was like a big thing for me at that time. So I was taking it very slow. And I think that is one reason I started, because I thought I can work with my flexibility. And of course, there were days when we started getting out of COVID and out and moving. Of course, I had to go out to job sites and all, but then I would organize it with my husband to make sure he's home the day I'm going, so that I don't have to worry about the 3 o'clock pickup. He will do it. Or fortunately, I do have some cousins around whose kids are also going in the same school. So if we both are not available, somebody else can pick the child up. So those are things, I try to plan early in the week so that those things are sorted. And then, of course, time, luckily, when the baby started sleeping better, I started getting better night sleep, which was good. So, throughout the day, I could have more time for work and adjust accordingly. So I think one reason is I did not take too much work. I was just taking a very limited number of work.
So to take on whatever you can, and instead of feeling overwhelmed, and to ask for help if you need it.
Yes, I think that's one thing women have noticed, where women, because there's always this pressure of super mom or super lady or whatever you call them. You can do everything together. But that's a very wrong notion we are giving. There's nothing wrong with telling someone you don't have to give an excuse that why you can't do it. It's just that you're asking someone else, and especially if you've got your partner and your husband, these are not any one person's responsibility. It's together. You're a family. Everybody has to put in. So I think sometimes that pressure of being a super mom, that I want to do everything. Maybe with the first child, probably I had it because, I want to do everything I want to do. But after some years, I realized that's not the reality. I should get my husband involved.
Yeah.
When I had the second child, I started making sensible decisions.
So true.
It is just, sometimes it's just the way. Unfortunately, back home, when you probably get a little bit of more house help, which is very popular back home, because you have house help person coming in doing the chores, at home, even cooking and cleaning, they do it. So here that's not popular. So everybody in the house has to do it. So if you don't have anybody coming from outside, whoever is in the house has to do it. So
that's so true. Because whatever you can do, you do it yourself. If not, just allocate to someone else, or just not doing it. Maybe instead of cleaning every single day, maybe once a week or something like that, right?
Absolutely. Well, that's you came to a great point. That's the other thing. Over time, like I do have routines. There are certain days I do certain tasks. So unless something really big happens, so I've got days that I've scheduled for the laundry task, for the cleaning task, mopping, and I've got things like that, because that just makes it easier, that I don't have to think twice of which day it is. And I know the days because that's the day my little one is home. He doesn't do a childcare. So those are days, along with spending time with him, I did get the other things done at home as well. So that is, over time, I decided I had to have a routine. Otherwise, I cannot do everything every day. It's just not possible. And I don't want to do everything every day.
I know that's so many challenging moments, but definitely once you have that routine, you know what you can do, and to allocate tasks, there's so much more possibilities that you can achieve, right? That's so good. Thank you so much for that answers, Lathika. I know that you building a successful business, because obviously any businesses, it requires networking, right? and establishing connection is one of the like top priority. So can you maybe share some strategies on how you build your professional network and how do you attract your client or look for clients for your own design firm?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Networking and building connections is very important, especially I think service-based business, especially. Of course, I'm not saying product-based business doesn't need, but business like us, we get really involved into a person's life. When I'm doing the interior, and the other reason is it's a little more, it's a more higher ticket business as well. So you're getting involved into a person's house. You're literally becoming a member of their family to understand how they work and then provide the best solution. So that is quite important. So I have been fortunate that the local childcare where my son goes, that was the first place that I had. At that time, I had just got a simple card printed from Officeworks, like a little flyer. I didn't even know how to do a proper flyer. I just printed because I do I work on Photoshop. At that time, I was not familiar with Canva at that time. So Photoshop, I created one, just got it printed from Officeworks on a little thick paper, and I cut them into small strips, and I had them outside the childcare and near my local, one library there. And the first call I received from outside the family was from someone from the childcare, a family. And that is how was my first connection. And today, also, they've come back to me. I renovated their kitchen and laundry when I first started in 2021, the COVID times, the scary times. And today, when they're redoing their spaces, also we are in touch. So I am doing the other spaces in their home as well. So that was my first connection. So there I have quite a lot of friends that I have made over the years because both my kids went to the same childcare. So I've got a circle there. And from that, I have grown into a bigger circle. The other thing was Facebook has been quite good when we consider social media. There's too much. There's a lot going on with social media. So of course, one of my friends had advised me that I should be out on social. But at that time, in 2020, I just thought one post for the week was good. I had no idea of the strategy and what I need to do. And I thought that was fine. But I realized I'm not getting any clients. Slowly I started learning that there's so much to social media. People are posting 5 and 6 times to get in front of people and all these algorithms and stuff. But Facebook is another place because I notice my client base, they are mostly from Facebook. So that is another area I have. Then, to be honest, I started looking for people who had a similar background like myself, like people who moved, probably many of us moving from India, and they want to create something which connects them back to their culture. So that was easy for me to understand because I come from the same background. So initially I hadn't given that a thought, but somehow later during the track I realized that was another aspect which was quite different about me, because probably that was my selling point, because I even today most of my clients, 90% of them are very similar to me. They've mostly taken a PR or migrated from India and they have settled here. They've got their parents back home. Their parents come for a visit. So very similar, the mindset is quite similar. So I started realizing that at that point when I realized that that is probably what I'm attracted, I started paying more attention to what I was doing, because initially I was not sure. Though I had an ideal client, this was not a major factor, but later I kind of realized that probably that is what I'm attracting more. I'm not saying I don't have other clients. I do have other clients, but my major clients would be clients who are from Indian background. So I think I did realize that was my strong point as well, because there were certain things about it when it comes to culture that I'm able to understand it and talk to them in the same language as they do. So probably that was a breakthrough, I can say, because that did make a difference in my business as well. And that's where I started connecting with communities on Facebook, through which I started getting more inquiries.
Wow, that's such a good one that they can have someone who is having a similar background, and probably the design in the house that's so connected to where they like their home country, right? Because sometimes you have that culture that can incorporate in the design. That's such a great when people understand your language, and it's not only the language as the spoken words, but the language as in the culture and some similarities.
Yes, that's very true. And see, India in itself is quite vast and diverse, because from north to south it's very different. I am actually from the south of India, but I studied in the north. So to one aspect, that has actually helped me, because I'm able to have clients who are both from the north and able to get that aspect, and of course my south clients as well. So I think that in itself, when I stepped out of India and here now, when you look back, I think that is my strong connecting point. I am able to gel into anybody within this category quite easily. And I think communication, like you said, is the key. You need to communicate, especially, when you are trying to explain to people and the ideas. So that has made it quite, even the local languages, I know 2 to 3 local languages, Indian languages, which makes it sometimes easy to even talk. Sometimes you just need to have something say in a particular language, just makes it easier for the client to understand or imagine, just making it easier for them. So that has become a bonus for me in my
and they feel connected as well, right?
Yes.
I love that. Thank you. That's such a great things that you're doing for your clients, and they probably feel that, oh, they're so lucky to have someone that is like connected with them. So for your clients, so do you take clients for like private clients or commercial clients? Who are your client base? I mean, at the moment?
I do both residential and commercial, but my main focus is residential. And I do offer my one-on-one service. So usually when I have a client, if it's a renovation, the project can be somewhere from 3 months to 6 months projects, depending on how far the renovation is. And if it's a new build, sometimes the project, actually the time frame lasts from, if they've got me right at the initial start to the time the project finishes, about a year to a year and a half, I'm actually connected with the client for the entire stage. So it is a very, very long time frame that. So like I said, I want to make sure that they are getting the perfect result, and I'm able to provide the perfect solution, and they, we just work well with each other. A dialogue I tell all my clients, it's like finding the right interior designer is like a matrimony match. You have to make sure you're compatible with each other. Otherwise, there's no point of me telling a design if we're not on the same page. So I always tell my clients, when they do their research, make sure that connection is really important. You feel you've understood them and you've connected. It's only then that we can give the best results as well.
Yes. That's why when you say, mention in the beginning, you just like, you are part of their family, because you are there with them along the way, like to build the house with them.
Yes, and when you do kitchen is considered heart of home, so that's a space. There's so many questions sometimes I need to ask the clients. You're really getting into their everyday life to figure out how they're working, so that you can give them the best result. So there's so many questions I keep asking the clients, and literally I need to know them. And I always say the first 2-3 spaces are hard, because you're just understanding the client. And once you do that, actually the rest of the job becomes quite easy, because by then I've understood the client pretty well. So there was this one job that I did for a client. I did the whole house for them. I remember first we were not able to get exactly, I'm telling them they're not liking the idea, and I'm not able to get, it took me a little while of brainstorming session to understand exactly what they wanted. But after that, it was so easy, because I could go to a shop and actually bought something for my client. I had sent her a message, but I didn't hear back from her. But I brought it for her because I was sure she would love it. And as soon as I reached home and I checked my phone, she said, "Yes, I love it. Buy it, please." So,
Oh.
that's the connection, because I knew there was no way she would say no to that. I had understood her so well. I could just pick it up for her and knew she would love it.
Oh, that's such a beautiful things that you have connected with your clients. I really love that. So your clients are, you did mention earlier that it's not only based in Melbourne, right? They can be remotely anywhere.
Yes, that's right. I do some online consultation. I did have some clients from Adelaide, and I've got some inquiry. Of course, I do get inquiry from India as well. With my clients in India, what I do is, if they want me to do the design, I'll get the basic design done and approved until they're happy, and then I will pass it on to one of my friends, because I've got a lot of friends there. So then when it's the construction stage, of course, I would like to pass it on to a local friend, so that then they're able to do that one-on-one service, because I will not be able to do the site visit as much. So I will hand it over to one of my friends, so which is
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
So that connection helps as well.
That's so good that because of internet and because of this connection, you can literally have your business everywhere in the world. So where can people find you online, Lathika?
So I am actually, if you Google Lathika Nair Design, I should come up, because I'm on Google, I'm on
Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube. So I've got myself out there. So if they know my name, it's quite easy. If they don't know my name, I think that'll be hard for them to find out.
Okay. So any one of you out there listening, if you want to have the new design for your house, or you just want to have a better design or have a chat with Lathika, I think she's more than happy to chat with you about that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I always say I offer an initial free chat, because sometimes I feel people have a lot of questions and they don't know whom they should ask these questions, And many a times I speak to a client, and if that's not the right fit, that's not the work that I do, I direct them where they need to. Because I recently had a call from someone who was building with one of the custom builders that went under, and she had called me to say that she needed help. Now, of course, I could help her with the interior, but her build was not completed. And I knew I cannot take up that part of the job, because they've got to do with the bank, and I can't do that aspect. So I had to send her to someone else. I sent her to another architect who could take up the job and get the work done. So I'm able to, that's why I offer the 20 minutes chat. One is to understand what they're looking for, if I can offer that, and if not, what they need to do, because most people get stuck in this way. There's a lot of gray area, and people get stuck. They don't even know whom they should ask these questions. And I always say, if it's got something to do with your home, no question is a silly question, because if it's come to their mind, it is something that they're thinking about. So they need to get an answer for it. And I, really try my level best to be able to guide them with the knowledge and skill that I have, and direct them what they need to do next.
Wow. Yeah, that's such a great thing that you offer the consultation for them, and but like people probably have some idea that they feel like they want to put into a reality, or how to put it in real life. That would be great to talk to Lathika about that. Yeah, I'm so well aware of the time, Lathika. And yeah, before we wrap up, I would wanted to ask you, is there anything that you would like me to ask that I haven't asked yet?
No, actually, you've asked a lot of lovely questions. I think I've spoken for a long time. So lovely questions there, Vivienne. Really nice answering those questions. And I'll probably have to listen back to this and see what I was just going on talking as usual.
I love what you just shared. It's like a lot of golden nuggets that you share, and I love listening to your stories, and it's very inspiring, and it's such a examples to tell other women out there. Yeah, there will be challenges along the way on whatever that you are doing, but just keep going and believe that like you say, there is our guardian angel out there looking after us. Just believe in what you're doing, and yeah, keep going. So one last question that I would like to ask you, Lathika, for all the other women out there, what is your one piece of advice for them?
Believe in yourself. I think that is one thing everybody needs. Just believe in yourself. Because I think we get so much under the pressure, and we are always doubting. And I think everybody is capable of something. So just believe in yourself. As long, as long as you're not doing anything unethical or illegal, believe in yourself and you will get there.
I love that. Believe in yourself. And I love that Lathika is actually believe in what she's doing, and she didn't change her channel because she was initially thinking to even not doing creative stuff, right? And you have that split second thinking, but you keep going and believe in what you're doing and see how great you are serving all your clients here and everywhere in the world.
Thank you so much, Vivienne. I'm really happy and really appreciate all those clients who, trusted me with their design and with their home. Like I said, it's like another baby. They've trusted me, and I've built amazing relationships. That's the best thing I think I've done with all this. My connections that I have made, I think it's lifelong connections that I've made, and blessed to have so many more friends in my circle now.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for your time, Lathika. I really enjoyed our conversation together and learned so much from you. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to maybe invite you again in the coming future.
Okay, thank you so much, Vivienne. Love to chat with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.